Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Thanks along for checking out another Fly Tying Friday video. Today, as you can see in the vise, I'm going to be tying up a traditional shad fly. The American shad run up our rivers come mid-May through to June, and hopefully our season opens up by then and I can get out there and snag some American shad on the fly rod. Anyway, that's a very simple fly to tie. There's 3 materials plus your thread. As you can see here, we're doing an orange variation. I have an orange Marabou tail. We're going to have orange Uni-thread for the body. We're going to tie in some Mylar tinsel, silver side up, and going to tie in some white chenille for the head. That's it. Very simple. So let's get this one out of the vise, a new hook in there, and I'll start the tutorial for you guys. The hook I'm using is a standard streamer hook in a size 6. I'm going to go ahead and get my thread started. Bring that back in between the barb of the hook and the hook point. Take your orange Marabou feather. You want to measure with the hook gap a little longer. I'm going to transfer that over and tie that down. And tie back a few wraps to about the barb of the hook and back up. Okay, now as I do this, I'm going to secure this Marabou down with open wraps, trying to keep the stem of that Marabou on the top of the shank. And right about there we can come in and trim that tag end off. And we want to wrap our thread back and forth a few times to create a nice uniform body, because this is what's going to show through. This is going to be our body color, is the thread you choose. You want to use your thread, touching wraps, back and forth. I'm going to go up the hook shank now. And then I'm going to tie in our Mylar tinsel. And take our Mylar tinsel. This is a large I'm using, a UTC tinsel. Go ahead and cut yourself off enough that you're going to be able to work with. Pull nice and tight. So we want the silver side out, so we want to tie the silver side in. I'm going to do a nice loose wrap, capture that silver side in, wrap that forwards, and now touching wraps all the way back. Try to cover up that Mylar so it doesn't show through, and we're going to wrap back up, making sure none of that Mylar shows through, and we give ourselves a nice uniform orange body. Okay, now we want to grab our Mylar and we want to manipulate it so it comes up over the hook, and wrap this up nice and even as you can. 4 or 5 wraps. Come over with your thread to secure that in place. I like to wrap in front of my tinsel, pinch it in between, come in behind a couple more times. Now we can go ahead and trim that off and cover up that tag end. Okay, so now what we want to do, guys, is take some UV resin or some head cement. In this case, I'm going to use some Sally Hansen's Hard as Nails. And I want to make sure I get that nail polish dripping off so it's not big and bulky. I want it nice and thin. And I just want to paint that over top of the Mylar and the thread. This is going to make the color of the thread really pop out. And secure that Mylar in nice and tight. Okay, we're going to let that dry for a minute, guys, and then what we're going to do is put our chenille on. So while we're waiting for that to dry, we can go ahead and prepare our chenille. I've got this nice white thin chenille here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my thumb and index finger and squeeze nice and tight and try to pull some of those fibers out to expose the cord. So right there I've got the cord exposed. This is crucial when you tie in chenille. It saves you on bulking up your fly, but it also secures it down properly. So we should be able to go ahead and secure that in there. You can see I grabbed that cord with my thread. I'm going to secure that down nice and tight up to the eye of the hook and come back just a few wraps. Now we can go ahead and start wrapping this chenille. I'm going to go 2 wraps ahead, 2 wraps back, 2 wraps ahead, 2 wraps back. You basically want to keep doing that in order to create a real nice round head. And now we're going to bring our chenille up front and tie that off. Okay, you go ahead and trim that chenille off and create a nice big orange head on your fly. This is going to create a nice hot spot. Even though our whole fly is orange, a nice solid head on this is really going to attract those shad. Shad are like salmon. Once they hit the fresh water, they stop feeding. So this is more of an instinctual fly. You're going to get more of an instinct strike. You want to fish this low, very low in the water column, almost on the bottom. So I'm going to be using a sinking line, split shot or 2, really get that down there. Keep these nice and simple because I'm going to lose a bunch of these and I won't be too concerned. So there we have it. We're going to take a little more Sally Hansen's now, and we're just going to lightly coat that over the head threads. And there you have it, guys. That is your classic American shad fly. I do like to tie them in other colors, like this fluorescent yellow and orange head. That is another really good killer pattern. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Fly Time Friday, friends. I really appreciate the support, and I hope you guys enjoy my videos. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up before you leave, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Have a great weekend, everybody. I will see you in my next video.